This is an Alfastreet 28C, and it is an absolutely fascinating boat for lots of reasons. First of all, there's a lot of customization, things like this is the cabin version, but you can have more of a bow rider style with the deck sunken and a sun pad in the front. The paint scheme here, this one's in the grey, white as standard, but you can have that. It's a painted finish in any colour you want. But where it gets really interesting is when we get to the back of the boat and the drive systems. Now, first of all, there are two hull versions of this. This one is a riverboat, so it's designed for low speed work and it has a displacement hull. But you can also get it with a planing hull for high speed, and there's a huge range of different engine options, and perhaps the most fascinating is the engine option that's in this one. So we'll step on board and I will explain to you why via a little switch down here that opens the back of the boat. Now, you will not have seen motors like this, and you're still not going to see motors like this. Why? Because they're under the boat. It's got electric pod drive. They're twin pods. These are the tops of the drives here, and these are the cables taking the power from the battery banks further forward. So it's an electric boat. It will do about 8 knots, but it cruises at 4 to 5 knots, which is typical sort of river speed. And it's giving you then about 8 hours of running. So a full day out on the water, no problem at all. And it will charge, I'm told, from a 16 amp typical shore power supply in about 6 hours. Now, you can see it's quite a big engine bay. They'll put all sorts of things in here. You can have a single diesel if you want. You can have twin petrols. In fact, you can have petrol engines with a planing hull up to 300 horsepower each, and that's giving the boat mid 30 knots top speed. So a lot of different configurations depending on how you're using it, but this, I think, is particularly interesting. I think this is the first all-electric boat I've ever been on. Let's go and have a look at a bit more of it. I'm also going to run one of those engines for you and show you how quiet it is, because it is quite impressive. We'll drop that back down. Now, the rest of the boat seems fairly conventional, but do stay with me to the end, because there's something that is quite remarkable, which I'm going to show you last off. But we'll look through the boat first of all. Sun pad at the back. There is a lifting section here, so you can lift that up if you want it for looking out over the back of the boat, which is nice. Drops back down like that. Then there's quite a social seating area here, and in fact this has got these lift sections again, so if you prefer to have that as seating, you've got it. If you want it more as a sun pad, you can lift it up and do it like so. There's a folding table in the centre, and there's a fridge down underneath here. Keep your drinks cool, and again seating all the way around. And then up here you've got your twin seats up at the helm. It is, as I mentioned, all electric, and what I'm going to do is very quickly just turn that on. They're Pictronic motors on this one, and all you do is push the lever forward to sort of go into gear. Well, it doesn't really go into gear, of course, it just brings power into the propellers. If we look out the back, that's it, that's running. If we go right back, you'll see the prop wash. It's virtually silent. We'll give it a touch more actually, just to see. We won't go too mad because we're tied up to the key. We don't want to take it with us. Can you hear that? It's just a very, very gentle hum. That, for cruising up the River Thames or anywhere else, Norfolk Broads, wherever you like to use a boat like this, fantastic. Let's drop that back down. And that's it. Ignition back off. Simple as that. You can get up onto the foredeck this way. There's an opening windscreen that you can see just here. That takes us up onto there. And it's also got a small cuddy cabin on it. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you can have this with a sunken well at the front and a sun pad on there. This one allows you to have a bit of an interior in the boat. So down here we've got a nice little seating area, so you can come and tuck yourself away. And in actual fact, this is on a cantilever mechanism. You can just see it down there. So you can drop that down. There's an infill cushion that goes on top, and that makes it into a double bed. So if you want to have an overnight on the boat, you can do. And there's even a little loo down here. There we go, with a door that slides around to close that off. It's a brilliant little weekender, and as I say, it's a riverboat. Absolutely fantastic. But if you want to use it on the sea, well, of course, I guess you could use an electric one, but you'd probably opt for perhaps a diesel engined one, or those petrol engines. Little galley down here as well, so it's a single burner. Make yourself a cup of tea and a sink, and then the switch panel is in here. It's all very neat. Another thing I really like is this funky lighting. You see this blue lighting that wraps around here. It's on both sides, and you can actually change the colour of that as well if you want to. Anyway, there's one final party trick that I must show you about this boat, which is just brilliant. Let's drop that back down and grab Maggie. How did Maggie move to... Oh, never mind. We'll head off the back now. Imagine it's a typical day. You've had a wonderful afternoon on the river, you've got back to your mooring. The last thing you really want to be doing is dragging canopies out, zipping them on, poppering them on, all that kind of thing. With the Alfastreet, you don't. You push a button. And that's it, you're done. It takes about 30 seconds. Now that is an optional extra and a fairly expensive one, but it is also a brilliant one. And in fact, they put a 3-year warranty on that. They're really confident about all the hydraulics and everything that operate it. So that's very reassuring. But there it is, Alfastreet 28C, a really innovative boat. Huge thanks to Boat Showrooms for letting me have a look at that one and bringing it around. And huge thanks as ever to you guys for watching. Let me know what you think of that one in the comments. I'll be intrigued to see what people make of it. And as ever, we'll look forward to catching you on the next one. Take care, bye-bye.